Hey, this channel and its videos are intended for adults only and not for children. No kids allowed. Hey, welcome to another amazing, mind-blowing episode of Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we are playing Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. Not just on the PlayStation 4, but the PlayStation 4 Pro. And I have no idea if there's enhancements, so that makes it more exciting because you get to guess. Alright, so I actually don't have much love for Final Fantasy VIII at all, so naturally I would make a video about it. No, I just wanted to make a video today. I woke up kind of tired. This is part of, if you're not used to watching my channel, like, it's really not about the games all the way. Like, this is partly just me talking. Like, if you were chilling, like, with your friend, hanging out, if you're new to the channel. If you're not, you've heard of this whole spiel before. But yeah, no, I, like, woke up, I don't know, I felt really angsty today. Like, I'm just, like, but I don't know where it's stemming from. And I'm not, like 16 years old, and I'm, like, mad because Dad didn't let me drive the car to 7-Eleven kind of angst. I don't know. I don't know if there's like some stuff that I'm not quite dealing with well or what. I don't know. Could be a lot of things. But as a creative person, I think those kind of not so great feelings are great for being creative. Because I've noticed, like, during the super positive points of my life, like, I don't know, I didn't feel like making stuff. I just felt like going out and having fun and spending time with people where, like, if you don't feel good, you kind of feel reclusive, and sometimes you feel like, I don't know, creating artwork and things like that. One good thing about this game is the cutscenes still look fairly nice considering how old they are. If I'd have to throw out a number of when this came out, I would guess around 1998. Maybe it's just because it's Final Fantasy VIII. This was advertised before it came out as a love story, and I was like, this game's gonna be lame. But the world and the story and everything is really cool. What I don't like about the game as much is the mechanics. I got the remastered version because I really, really want to like this game. I've seen other people get really far into the game, and it looks really cool. I like the character designs look like wax models now, super simplified, but I like the, I've been collecting, like, the art books. I have all the way up to Final Fantasy 13. I don't think that they're going to... It might even cover 14, which I could give two fucks about. But, I don't care about the online Final Fantasy games at all. More power to you if you like them. I'm not putting anyone down who likes something that I don't like, unless it's like murder or something like that. But, yeah, I just can't get into the Final Fantasy games. But this game, I think what happened was they had such success with Final Fantasy. Before I go into that, let me go into my original thought. Again, if you're new to this channel, ADD is something that you'll be witnessing a lot. Also, I'm really tired, so I skip my thought processes a lot. Like, think about, like, a track and, like, 3 trains going in different directions from the train behind and in front of it, and it's just complete chaos, but there's only like one track, so I have to switch a lot. And it's just like, there's an episode of The Simpsons where they were testing Mr. Burns, which, if you're not familiar with The Simpsons, that's Homer. That's like the dad. His boss is Mr. Burns, and he's like an old man that owns like a nuclear power plant that powers the city. And they're testing his blood or whatever, and they're like, you have every disease known to man. And they're like, let me give you an example of how you're still alive. I forgot how it was worded. And they're like, let me do it with Beanie Babies. And they like took like, I can't remember if they just, anyway, they just tried to take all the Beanie Babies and put it in a small space. I don't know why it, like the details of what they used, whether it was a bucket or a tube, but anyway, like all the Beanie Babies like got smashed where they couldn't like go through the tube. It like jammed up the tube or whatever they were using, and that's kind of how my thought process goes. Also, I have which is weird because I work in the public, no problem, but I guess even though this is YouTube, it feels like talking to people in real life. I don't know, I have a little bit of stage fright, so that like kind of messes up my thought process a little bit. And when I get anxious, it's hard for me to talk clearly. Put on top of that I'm tired. Like, I hadn't slept for roughly 34 hours. I got around 5 hours of sleep since then. That's kind of like as the longest duration of sleep that I can have before I wake up, and maybe I can get like another few hours of sleep at some other point. I'm like perpetually tired because of it. It kind of sucks. So if intravenous caffeine becomes a thing, that will be awesome. So now back to my original story. See, I'm getting way sidetracked, and I was trying to correct my course, and I still went off course trying to explain my thought process. So I've been collecting, well, I've collected, I don't think they're coming out with any more volumes. I don't think they're covering Final Fantasy 15. For all I know, that came out with its own book. I haven't had the love for Final Fantasy 15 that everybody else does, and I think part of that is that it's an intimidating game for the simple fact that there's just so much DLC, and it's a clusterfuck. And I really hope that even though Final Fantasy 7 is going to be, the remake of Final Fantasy 7 is going to be released in segments, I hope that they don't convolute it like the individual segments with a bunch of DLC. And I don't even think that they're finishing like all the DLC, and I hope that they don't do that for future Final Fantasy games. There's also like a Final Fantasy fighting game that came out, I believe it's called Dissidia, and I believe I did a video on it, and I believe I streamed it, and I believe that it was really compressed and it looked like shit, and I don't know if I left it on my channel or not. Feel free to look for it. The PSP Dissidia games, I believe that's how you say it, were actually quite nice. But you buy the game and then you have to like download all these characters, and I get it for maybe games that are more complex, like Street Fighter or whatever, but that game's not terribly complex, and there wasn't a whole lot of content to begin with. The single player portion was kind of stupid compared to the PSP, which is really sad. Although the PSP games were original games, where the one on PS4 was based on our arcade game. I believe Namco developed it. So it was a little bit simple, but considering like the first two actually had like this RPG mechanic where you're exploring this world and there's like a storyline, where the one on PlayStation 4 you beat like a level and then you earn cutscenes to actually get to see how the story unfolds. But you have to like buy so many characters. One of the characters that you'd buy you would think would be a main character is the love interest of Squall, who's the main character right there on the left. I was like, that she should have came with the game, as well as like some other characters. I think some other Final Fantasy VIII characters. I know Final Fantasy VIII isn't the most popular game, but the character designs and the world designs and everything are awesome. And on the book that I keep on trying to reference and like go off topic about is actually really cool, because it shows you like what everything, it shows you like the CGI backgrounds and everything. It actually shows you the hand painted, hand drawn character designs and stuff like that. And it's like, there's so much cool stuff. And like I watched my friend play this game quite extensively, and I was like, this is so cool, why can't I get into it? And there's two things that I don't like. It's just the battle system and the way you have to draw magic, which is referred to as the junction system. I took out most of the tutorials, if not all of them. If I missed one, I'm at the point where I'm just gonna post it. Like, I want to do something creative, but apparently I'm not gonna put that much work into it today, because I'm kind of at that edge. Like, since I'm kind of feeling angsty, I'm just like, whatever, fuck it. So if there's extra footage there of the tutorials, I apologize. If the video seems jumpy, that's either a cut or the animation is janky as all fuck. It's a little bit of both, and I'll get into that later. But yeah, there's like a junction system where you have to like draw spells, and you kind of have to create your spells, and that's all good and great. And then on top of that, there's this card mini game where you have to like battle people with like Magic the Gathering type cards. I don't keep on wanting to call it Gwent, but that's The Witcher, but kind of like The Witcher type of card game, except that there's a point in the game where you have to like win this card game. Like, it's a mini game that's forced on you, and I hate the mini game because it's a card game and you got to challenge people, and I hate card games in real life. I hate poker. I don't like Magic the Gathering. I shouldn't say hate, because hate requires a lot of energy. Like, when I think of hate, I think of like having a stack of cards like on the table, and I'm just like, fuck you cards, like all the time, like just focusing all this pure hate, where it turns into like that pink viscous sludge from Ghostbusters 2. I'm trying to think what they called the slime on Ghostbusters 2. I wanted to make a really nerdy reference that only I would get, so when I watch this video I would like chuckle to myself. Shit, I can't think of it. It'll probably pop in my head, of course, once I'm done recording the video. But anyway, yeah, so like, I dislike Magic the Gathering. I don't even like magic tricks, if you can call it that. They're just tricks, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, dealing with cards, I think they're boring. Like, the only card game that I can get into is like Uno. And Blackjack is alright. There was a Star Wars game. If you play video games at all, I'm sure you've at least probably heard of Star Wars Knights of the Republic. I forgot what the card game was in that. And again, I don't think you were forced to play that. It was just there. And it was just basically blackjack. I think it's whatever Han Solo plays in the Solo movie. I don't fucking know. Like, I love Star Wars, but I don't know the universe to the point of like, oh, it's this thing from this obscure novel, or this like quick throwaway reference that we're gonna like build a whole story on. Like, I don't know Star Wars like that. I mean, apparently I'm starting to find out, like, when I'm talking to people, like, at the video game store, or like, even at work, I was talking about comics or whatever, and I don't even know comics that well, but it's just the vast of useless knowledge that I have sometimes upsets me. I'm like, why can't I, like, have, like, some knowledge that I actually can use and apply to real life that'll make me a successful human being, and when, like, have me, like, win people over, because damn it, I want to be liked. I don't know if that's really one of my goals, because I don't think I could handle being social all the time. At least, like, win, like, one decent person over, maybe, that I can stand, like, maybe 3 times a week. Week being 7 days. We're not going to go for the work week of 5, because that's pushing it, let's be honest. I'm being stupid. So I think when Final Fantasy VII came out, Final Fantasy VII was a relatively simple RPG, as were the other Final Fantasies for the most part. 2's battle system was a little bit weird. 3 was weird with the job system. 5 was weird with the job system a little bit. 4 was pretty basic. 6 was basic, which I like a lot. 7 was basic. 1 was obviously basic. I don't know. I guess it goes on and off. But even like the job system ones, they're not so convoluted as this. But I think they were scared that they were just going to be accused of recycling the same thing, and I don't think at the time, and sometimes I still think the developers of the Final Fantasy games do not understand, and this might offend a lot of people, but getting a shit ton of subs was never my goal. I selfishly make videos for myself and just hope that other people that are like-minded at least enjoy them, are not like-minded enjoy them. I hope that you enjoy my videos. Like, if you just want to hear, like, a stupid, tired person talk, and that's what makes your day, and my video entertains you, more power to you. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching me stumble through these fucking videos. So, anyway, Final Fantasy is Dungeons and Dragons for lazy people. We just want a storyline, a simple battle system. I don't want to grind too much, although the older ones you did, but I think starting with 7, it kind of eased up a little bit. 12, the online ones are grindy. 14 seemed a little bit easier. 11's ridiculous. 12's a little bit crazy. 12's another one that didn't win me over, that I really want to replay and try to convince myself to like it. I never played X2 for some reason, and I think it's because those commercials, like, scared me. Not scared me, they just made my stomach go, ugh, this really looks lame. But now that I've gotten more into obscure, like, JRPGs and stuff like that, I kind of crave that, because everything's, like, super serious. Most of what you would consider RPGs, I know JRPGs are their own thing, but, like, people who aren't hardcore gamers refer to, like, all the stuff as RPGs. Not being a PC gamer, like, anything that you would, like, level up would be considered, or, like, you go to a town and talk to people. Even, like, Zelda might be considered an RPG, an action RPG, but an RPG nonetheless. It's such a loose term when you're not, like, hardcore into, like Western RPGs that actually require a bit more effort. And I guess those games kind of turn me off. Even, like, Skyrim kind of turns me off a little bit. I did like Oblivion. So that might just be based on the world. I'm really excited about Cyberpunk, but I'm really scared at the same time about how convoluted the system is gonna be. because Witcher was like teetering on the edge of, do I want to play this game or not? Witcher 3 is what I'm referring to, although I do like Witcher 2. I never finished either game. They're kind of overwhelming because there's so much to do, and I think that's part of the problem with the Elder Scroll games, the newer ones that I have. There's just too much to do, and that's why I like most fun, like, I'm trying to think of what Final Fantasy games I haven't played. Now, I almost feel like I've played like everyone except X2. And I have it, which is funny. I have actually several versions of it. And for some reason I just never got to it because it looked really tongue-in-cheek at the time. Like, Charlie's Angel was really popular, and I couldn't stand that movie. Like, it's campy. I don't know. I was going through a serious, like, phase in my life, I guess, or whatever, where it's like, that's too immature for me. Now, like, I crave immaturity a lot of times in games. But, like, I saw that they're doing like a pop singer thing, and then there's like this game that just came out for the Switch that was originally on the Wii U, like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, I believe is what it's called, where it's like Persona and Fire Emblem. Fire, I'm from the South. Fire. It's like a mixture of the Shin Megami Tensei, which is what Persona's derived from, although I feel like they're trying to separate themselves because Persona 5 didn't have the Shin Megami Tensei like subtitle in it. I think they're trying to separate it because I know 5 is coming out for the Switch. But anyway, there's like, you're like these like a pop idols or whatever, and you're doing like Persona like social stuff at the same time. Apparently it's not as deep, but that game looks awesome. And if I have some, like, I have a list of all these games that like I want to get. Switch games never seem to come down in price even when they're used, so the suck it up and buy it full price. But that supports like these companies. Like it's so bizarre to me when I see people like working at GameStop and all their games are like bought off of Steam through Steam sales, and I'm just like, are you trying to put yourself out of work? Whatever. To each their own, but I'm like somebody that's strictly PC gamer that works at GameStop that maybe they give excellent customer service, but if you don't know anything about like console gaming, it's just kind of weird. It's like a botanist working at Best Buy. What are you doing with your life? Home Depot's right beside Best Buy. Go over there. There's a garden section. You'll love it. Gosh, I don't even know where I was going with this. Oh yeah, I was talking about my favorite Final Fantasy games, and apparently I just went through puberty because my voice just cracked. I actually just had coffee and an energy drink mixed together, and apparently those flavors aren't supposed to mix. Monster and I believe I had French roast black coffee. It's like screwing up my voice. I think it's slowly eating away at my vocal cords, so I apologize for that high squeak. I am not going through puberty once again at 35. Maybe my maturity level, but as far as like mental maturity, alright, I just haven't gotten there yet. Who knows? But no, like, whatever. That joke's already dead. But yeah, like, as far as Final Fantasy, I appreciate the first one. I played all of them except, like I said, like X2. But I haven't played like the remastered version of 3 and 4. I played a fan translated version of 3. It was alright. Like, those early Final Fantasy 1 through 4. Even though 4 is awesome, I would like to play the remastered version where it's kind of like in 3D, although I feel like it loses some of its charm because I really love sprite artwork. Like, that one's really grindy to the point where it's dull at points. It's just like, I really want to play Phantasy Star 2, but in order to do anything on Phantasy Star 2, you have to grind like a motherfucker. More than any other game I think I've ever played, and some people refer to grinding as farming, if you like to use that terminology, where you just go and you fight over and over again to level up, and it's just, I don't like that. I just want to experience the story and have a little gameplay in between and just have a fun little battle system. Going to the mechanics of this particular remastered, basically the textures are higher res, so it gives the game like a blurry look. I kind of wish that there was an option to turn off the smoothing off of the pre-rendered background, so you'd have like the actual pixels. This game looked amazing on a CRT television back in the day when it was lower resolution and not at 1080p. This might actually be 4K on the PlayStation 4 since it's a downloadable game. Like, it doesn't have that little thing on the back of the box where it says PS4 Pro Enhanced, but the only thing it would really enhance is like the resolution. And usually with this type of game, like, it would just look a little bit sharper, and like the character portraits, which you don't really get to see that much because I had to cut them for time. This video is already ridiculously long and there's so many tutorials. One thing I do appreciate about the tutorial in this game is that you can go back and read them, because there's just so much to know about this game, and it hits you like right from the start of this game, and it's just like, wow, are you gonna give me some baby steps so I can work my way up? But the game gets even deeper from there. But I really want to replay this game and love it. But anyway, the character models have been upgraded, if you can even believe that, because in my opinion they don't even look PS2 quality. Well, I'll be generous and say they look like they came straight out of a PSP game. There must be a reason why they're so shitty looking. Obviously they look better than the PlayStation versions, but honestly, like, if they just left the PlayStation models, I don't think I'd care that much, because it's not that much of an improvement for me, honestly. After seeing like Final Fantasy VII Remake, I know that uses a different engine and whatnot. There had to be a reason, and maybe it was because the engine's just like overpowered, or like under a lot of distress, or under a lot of stress. Maybe it's distressed because it's stressed, who knows. But because it's not really, they didn't have like all the assets, so I think this was like reverse engineered from like an old PC version. But yeah, the only thing I can think of is they didn't have like resources, because technically, like, you should be getting CGI quality now, like models, with everything else being so simplified graphic wise, but that's not the case. It's not a deal breaker because you want to play the game for the story or whatever, but also the fight scenes run at 15 frames per second too, so it's just like, the original ran that way too. One thing that's kind of weird with the HD version, and it's annoying when you try to use Squall's Keyblade, which when Squall makes contact with his sword, which is what I call it, a Keyblade. It's the Gunblade. Keyblade is from Kingdom Hearts. Sorry, same people were behind it though, so it kind of makes sense. Actually, the same person that designed these characters designed, like, I can't think of his name, Sora. There we go. Nothing like being tired and being hyped up at caffeine simultaneously. What a feeling. It's like you almost want to go to sleep, but your heart's beating like a rabbit. If cocaine's anything like that, I don't know how people get addicted to it, to be honest with you. Unless it's just the fact that they spent money on a lot of shit that just makes them feel terrible. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below, like, if you've ever done cocaine and what it's like. But anyway, yeah, so there's still some input lag with this game, so it makes it kind of hard, like, when you use your gun blade and when you make contact, you're supposed to pull the trigger and you'll actually get additional hit points, which will do even more damage, but the timing's off, so you have to like consider the lag when you actually make contact with the enemies and stuff like that. But it seems like a good port. I really want to still give it a chance. You're not seeing a lot of the tutorials and stuff like that, which would give you more of an idea of the junction system instead of my tired caffeinated ass trying to explain it to you. But yeah, like it looks good enough. Like it's what I expected. Really excited about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I really hope they don't screw it up. For some reason I'm worried that Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be a multi-generational game, because they're advertising the game like the game that's coming out as the full game, when it's only just like the first part of the game. It's going to be released, I guess, like in episodes, kind of like I don't want to compare it to the Telltale games, because those are like 2-hour experiences. Like each game will be like a full game, so that even makes more sense for it to be multi-generational. I just hope that like whenever the PlayStation 5 comes out, I'll be able to afford it. I'm sure at some point, but me being a video game obsessed nerd, or just a nerd, because unfortunately, video games are not my only fucking hobby, because of it's terrible. It's like a disease. But yeah, like hopefully I'll be able to pull off the PlayStation 5. The new Xbox, which is called Xbox, has a lot of good companies working for it. Like they're getting the new Hellblade. I hope that even though like Microsoft is like owns the studio, they let their game come out on other consoles, even if it's like a Nintendo one. It's just so difficult to justify like owning like a Microsoft and a Sony system when you don't play like Gears of War, Halo like religiously. Like I love Halo. Gears of War is alright. 5 was really cool though, and 4 was pretty cool too, after I got over the fact it almost seemed like a mature rated Disney cartoon. But I think 5 really felt fresh compared to the other ones, and it was like one of the best looking games that I've seen. But they're getting Hellblade too, and I noticed that a lot of releases are being released on the Switch. Even if I got like some sort of gimped version on Switch, that'd be great. Nintendo's such a unique platform. Like if you own a Nintendo system, like the games you get from it you'll have your ports, but a lot of the library is like really different from Sony's library. But Sony has more exclusives as of right now. I don't know what's coming up in the future, but beside that, like, I don't know, the library just seems similar. But anyway, I'm all over the place. This was Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. Feel free to give it a shot. if I were to suggest play a Final Fantasy game, play 7. It looks like shit, but it's a really good game. And I guess that's subjective. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all doing well. Sorry I'm all over the place. I had to make a video at some point. Now was the time, unfortunately. I'm overly tired and overly caffeinated, so enjoy. Take care. Thank you so much.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.